right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The Chi League Invitational European region. Continuing action, what is our second game here from Group A, and this, of course, a different series as a result. We have Sexy as, you know what, I'm just going to say it, Sexy as Fuck, taking on Pries Gaming here in a best out of one. This, of course, from Group A. The winner of this will move on to play Windstrike, as we just saw with a very impressive victory over TFT. That means the loser will move on to play the final tribe. By the way, it's two groups of 4 teams each. The top 2 teams that advance on to that playoff stage, which is a single elimination. So pretty straightforward tournament, the GSL format, leading into the single elimination semifinals and finals. So ultimately, that $10,000 prize pool on the line. Excited to be here. Also, on top of everything else, we have that 7.22 patch that no doubt we already saw in our first game of the day. I'm Breaky CPK, joined by Hasbez. So we got 2 different teams now. The team from Greece, for the most part at least, SexyasF, going up against Pries Gaming, a stand-in team who is standing in place of Fly to Moon, who had to unfortunately pull out of the event last minute, but certainly still a solid roster there on the side of Pries Gaming.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just busy, cleaning my ears from your profanity earlier. But
My bad.
it's okay. But no, certainly there's a lot of recognizable names here for the side of Perez. So not a lesser team at all. Vitoon, he just played for Arshan as their carry, and they brought NIP to a full 3-game series in the Europe qualifiers. So a bunch of notable names here. So I'm interested to see how they perform, because this isn't a team that I've seen before together. So yeah, curious how that goes down.
Yeah, and I personally haven't had the chance to watch much of SexyasF as well. I know that you were talking about you had an opportunity to perhaps even cast them in a recent event, and certainly former Ad Phenom players such as Spartan and Skylark. So I expect them to be a very solid roster. But off the bat though, I gotta say, holy crap, they're down to 50 seconds of reserve time with just a 3rd ban. So this is a very curious start already. I know the patch happened and everything, but you're losing a lot of reserve time right now.
I mean, I think it's exactly as you say. It's the new patch, No one really knows what's strong. No one knows what heroes people are going to love. And so, yeah, it's just so tough to figure out. But you're definitely right that at some point you just have to make a decision. And it looks like we might be at that point.
Jesus. Okay. After all of that, they settle for a Shadow Shaman. That just doesn't seem like a ban that's worth thinking 2 minutes for almost. But okay. So, yeah, they have 24 seconds reserve time now to move forward. That's going to speed up their draft quite a bit. But Pries Gaming, they're going to think about their 3rd ban and then eventually the 1st pick. But you do see Io in Mars banned right off the bat. And something tells me that's going to be a theme, at least today. Here in this event, it's just the teams just do not want to deal with these newer heroes.
It's I'm just hoping that we're here in Europe. The patch happened overnight for someone. Maybe no one's realized that their Dota client updated overnight, and they just go into it and don't realize that these heroes are available, and they slip through. Because I really would love to cast the match with my first Mars, at least in competitive play, see the levels that some of these players are able to take into, and what sorts of ideas they have around the hero would be really positive.
Yeah. And early on last game, the aura seemed nice, and especially if you build a lineup around that idea, that's clearly what Windstrike had in mind. So I'm not saying that's what we're going to see here, but maybe a hero that at least they're thinking about. But who really knows? With the patch such as this, I go back to, it's like we really can't guess these picks nearly as effectively as we were able to before, because teams could have completely different mindsets and what they think of said changes.
No, exactly. You never... the meta definitely hasn't formed yet. We don't know what teams think is strong. We don't even know what teams favor. It's as you say, Windstrike, they obviously like that push strat. They identified the fact that Chen no longer needs to spend mana. It's not a single point hero, and it just provides so much regen and so much push that they were able to snowball over. But Sexy as fuck, they've gone for the Grimstroke, and he didn't really get any major changes except for his Aghanims. So they might just think he's a currently strong hero, but it doesn't give us any sort of idea about what kind of lineup they're looking towards.
Yeah, well, okay. didn't have many changes except for the Aghanims, but this is one of those Aghanims that really stood out to me. It honestly feels like, so it now grants a new ability, the Dark Portrait, as it's called. It honestly screams to me a ability that they kind of had to scratch as they were creating the hero, and now this is their chance to put it into the game. So I don't know what maybe it was going to be instead of what other ability, but point is, it seems pretty strong, honestly. You create an illusion of somebody on a 35-second cooldown that has plus 30% movement speed. It does take 200% incoming damage, but it deals 150% outgoing damage. So you take over the core, not take over, but you use Dark Portrait on the core on the other side of the farmed anti-mage or whatever. Suddenly, you're dealing tons of damage with this illusion as a result. So I'm very intrigued. This is one of those axe changes I certainly could see being effective.
Yeah, it definitely seems the way I'm thinking about it is, like a single target wall in effect for the Darkseer. You get that kind of illusion. But you say it's very strong, but do you really want to take it that early? There are lots of heroes who don't build stats, don't build that kind of thing, so their illusions aren't very good, and they're spellcasters. And if Pires just go for a bunch of spellcasters, then it kind of stops the Grimstroke. But I have to say, I do like the 2 picks they've taken against the Grimstroke because they're both denial picks. You might want that double target Laguna Blade, you might want that double target Fiend Script, and you're not going to get them because Pries has taken them.
5 seconds
remaining. Yeah, good point there. And yeah, obviously I'm not saying he's going to rush an Ags, and it's definitely going to be a game determining in terms of what they ultimately are up against. But they are going to go the Rubik's second pick, so both teams... I was going to say both teams look in the supporting cast, but of course Lena certainly couldn't have mid as well. But yeah, Rubik seems like already a great hero. Definitely Bane and Lena, both a lot of abilities to steal on either side. So that's the direction that SexyasF is going to go with. Not necessarily Soulbind synergy, but the spell steal is nice.
Yeah, as well as the double lift isn't something to be overlooked. It's a really nice long disable on the Rubik. And Rubik into Bane, every time you're going to be able to get that Fiend's Grip, and it's already affected by the Arcane Supremacy. You don't have to enfeeble people like the Bane does for that extra duration. So it's definitely a nice Rubik game here for the side of Sexy.
Radiant team ban.
Chaos Knight ban. There's a Bat Rider ban. So... really focusing on the bans as well, considering the patch, and interested to see how that continues along the line. Darkseer was that third ban from Pries Gaming, by the way. Did receive, as Darkseer tends to, yet more changes, and overall somewhat nerfs, I think is fair to say.
I actually think the Darkseer nerf was not strong enough at all, because all they changed was his strength and some of his talents, right? So, he's still as strong as he really is in the early game, still able to do these shenanigans. Obviously, he's a little bit more able to kill, which I think was the reasoning. So you're hopefully, with your stuns, he's not able to get away. But still, that Iron Shell is just as powerful as it is in the early game, and I really thought they might address that a tiny bit.
Oh, yeah. No, the landing phase is still just as strong. Yeah, the little bit less life is concerning, but, I agree with you. The landing stage is great. But I do think that level 20 talent change is a pretty big deal, because we were seeing the AoE surge have so much impact, and when the game started to get to the later phase, this massive speed boost for the whole team, pretty ridiculous. So the fact they made that now a level 25 talent instead, and they brought the Ion Shell damage to level 20 and toned down the damage that it provides, I do think is where you kind of see the nerf slightly, but certainly still a viable early pick hero.
Yeah, so we see a few more of the bans. I'm a bit saddened to see the CK ban, because he's just such a fun hero, and especially these CIS European teams. I feel they're the ones who really excel with the Chaos Knights, where we see him the best. It's unfortunately we're not casting Illidan, but to me he'll always be the best CK in the world, and it seems to have rubbed off on a bunch of these teams. So it does net a ban. Did get a bit of a change, but I think a buff overall. The Chaos Knight. Yeah,
certainly was. As Storm Spirit ban then comes out from Pries Gaming. So that's a curious one right there. Maybe SexyasF, known for playing the Storm Spirit, but
10 seconds remaining.
I was looking again to make sure Storm Spirit didn't receive any changes in the patch, so nothing of concern there at least.
Yeah, I mean, he did at least get nerfed in our pubs, because you can no longer stack those bloodstones for that crazy amount of mana regen. We weren't seeing it in pro games, luckily, but it was wreaking havoc on people's pubs if the Storm Spirit was really able to take off. So it's nice that it's not just the pro scene that the game is balanced around.
Brewmaster happening. Yeah, I'm looking at this roster in game at least for Priest Gaming, and from what I can tell, it is so they are missing Iceberg, and it looks like V-Tune is in place of Iceberg. So officially, the roster says that it should be Iceberg as their 2, but V-Tune, I'm guessing, is a stand-in at least for this match for the team. So everything else looks good to go though from their side. But yeah, the Brewmaster 3rd pick, and there's a Juggernaut. Early response from SexyasF.
Yeah, Juggernaut's pretty good against the Brewmaster in lane, just because most of the time these melee carries, they rely on their right clicks for the damage, and Juggernaut in the laning phase at least offers a fair amount of magical burst, and I wasn't even thinking about the combination with that Inkswell. It helps keep the Blade Fury on top of you. It's going to stun you right after. So a really nice pairing there for the safe lane of SexyasF.
Oh, that's annoying. Mosquito buzz, wow. Yeah, but they do have Bane moves, of course, with the Fiend's Grip, lock down Juggernaut through the spin, so that's one deterring factor in terms of picking up the hero. But ultimately, yeah, Inkswell synergy is great for Juggernaut, certainly going to make use of it. Wind Ranger for Priest Gaming. All right, I'm actually going to double check because I know she got changes.
Yeah, she got a change to her Ags as well.
That's right, yeah. It now adds 2 charges to Wind Run, and it increases the move speed by 45%. Holy crap. So that's a very interesting change. But again, as you mentioned, it was changed, so it no longer affects the Focus Fire. However, Focus Fire was reworked where a cooldown is now, instead of flat 70 seconds, it's 70, 50, and 30 at level 3. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, because it used to feel like if you were building any sort of core Wind Ranger, that this Aghanim Scepter was, absolutely core at some stage in the game, because otherwise you can only fight every 70 seconds. So that is a really nice buff for the Wind Ranger, and I'm curious to see, because I think this is most likely going to be, either a mid laner or a mid Wind Ranger. They still kind of have that flexibility to play them in the 4 position. But I love this Necrophos with the Grimstroke. It's obviously a nice pairing, something to use that scythe with, and it's Necro. Obviously, he can either go in the off lane or the mid lane, depending how they feel the draft is going for the side of SexyasF.
Priest Gaming, I do look at that lineup right there. I think they could get away with a Drow pick as a final pick if they wanted to. Drow did get some nerfs, as we kind of expected, but I don't know if it was over the top nerfs. I mean, the marksmanship no longer instantly killing Ancient that hurts her farm. And I guess, yeah, now only piercing base armor instead of total armor definitely was a nerf too. But I still think the synergy is there for a lineup like this with a Wind Ranger, and you could do like a support Lena. So I'm wondering if that's what they're thinking here.
Yeah, I mean, it will be kind of now that Drow isn't able to solo carry games on her own anymore. It is kind of, you have to build a strat around her. But they go for the anti-mage. Okay, I was going to spend a bit of time talking about the Puck for a second. Just this hero, he was already seeing play in the last patch and did receive, a few nice little buffs to himself in the, I think, the int and the strength, or either way, received a tiny bit of a buff. But yes, the anti-mage, obviously there are, some nice supports to burst in the Grimstroke as well as the Rubric if you're able to go on top of them. But if this Juggernaut takes off, they do have the ability to hold you down. They have a silence. They have a Dream Coil that you won't be able to get out of. So it's a bit of an interesting AM game here for the side of Pries. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, what I'm intrigued by is who's playing what. Because, like I said, Iceberg is not here. V-Tune is standing in for Iceberg. Now, V-Tune's on the Anti-Mage, though. Sadoy, who's normally their position 1 player, is on Brewmaster. And Yoki, who's normally their offlane player, is on Lena. And then you have Undershock, who's their 5 position on Wind Ranger, and then Screen is on the Bane position 4. Nothing crazy there, but the other, so I don't know if they're doing maybe some role swaps because of V-Tune standing in, or is this going to be a Brewmaster 1? No, well, that doesn't make sense. No, it has to be Anti-Mage 1. So
Yeah.
who's going to be mid, I guess, is my question.
I think we are probably seeing a mid Wind Ranger. It's either a mid Wind Ranger or a mid Lina. But I think I prefer the mid Wind, just because the great synergy between the Lina and the Bane.
Breathe it in.
And looking at their items, it is the mid Wind Ranger of Undershock here.
Okay, interesting. Because, yeah, he's normally their position 5 player, but setting up to be mid as a result of the switch up here.
I mean, it's just the dream of position 5, isn't it? You know, one day he says, "I'll go into the farm. You'll see. I'll carry you guys." And it just seems like they reshuffled their lineup to make Vitoon feel at home here. And he is a very good anti-mage. You know, he played it very well in the EU qualifiers. So I'm excited to see what he's able to achieve here in what isn't the easiest anti-mage game.
Looking at that, yeah, I suppose there's a couple of concerns. One with the fact that they picked it after the puck came out with the final pick from SexyasF, and of course Puck the Dream Coil could be annoying for anti-mage, but I think it's overall actually a decent game. Their catch isn't that great. The Dream Coil is the one biggest thing. Obviously, a lift from Rubik is concerning too. But if you pop that counterspell as soon as you see Rubik, ideally going to be fine. So yeah, I actually like the anti-mage game here for Pries gaming and what he's potentially going to be able to do. He also got the Axe buff or change too, right? Anti-mage, let's see.
Yes, he has the Mana Void. He has the new Axe Mana Void.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the plus 70-second cooldown on the highest cooldown. But that sounds kind of crazy. Now, again, I don't think we're going to see an Axe on this hero, but that's one of those absurd ones.
The thing is, if the game goes long, you know, like if the game goes to like 3rd or 4th Roshan, you know, we might start seeing these Ags come out. And then, you know, you manage to use it on the Juggernaut, the Necrophos. They're going to have these very long cooldown ultimates that, you know, if you keep killing them again and again, you know, it's just not going to be there for them. So I'm excited to see that.
Okay, so I'm rereading now the scepter changes in the beginning. Okay, so this is funny. When I mentioned the Han comparison early on, the Han comparison, you were able to buy an Axe plus a recipe and give it to somebody else, almost alchemist style. However, that cannot be done from what I'm seeing here. It's instead, if you happen to have an Axe, you can spend 2,000 more gold to then consume it yourself. So essentially, you're spending 6,200 gold to have it as a buff rather than in your inventory.
Yeah, and it is worth noting, when you consume it as a buff, you no longer get any of the stats from it.
Yes.
So, you know, people are like, when the alchemist handed over the Aghanims, you did get the stats, so it was even worth it to, let's say you had a carry who didn't have an Ags upgrade, but your Alch was so farmed, you might as well just give them the Ags for the stats. That's no longer the case with this purchase Ags.
So that, okay, because I made the comment about how Alchemist definitely took a nerf from this, but no, that's not even the case, because you can't give the Ags buff to somebody else. Alch is still unique for that. All right, for some reason that didn't register to me when I first read that. That makes a little more sense, so they didn't necessarily take that idea, as I was mentioning earlier.
Anyway, we've been talking about the Ags a lot, and you know, you talked about this Grimstone Ags in the beginning, and one of the best heroes who you want to create illusion of is that anti-mage. So I'll be so interested to see if it ever happens.
Sure.
I'm not sure it will, and we should probably talk about a standard game instead of everyone getting Aghanim Scepters. But I want at least one today. I want one new Aghanim Scepter. That's my margin.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Honestly, I do think Grimstroke is a high candidate for it. I really do, and it would not surprise me if Spartan eventually gets there. Now, I guess he is playing a position of 5 Grimstroke technically, so the likelihood of him getting there is pretty low. That's unfortunate. But if it happens to be very, very long, if you said, then certainly an item that you want to think about, because at that point, Anti-Mage would definitely be farmed as well, and that seems like a high-value item. So down the line, who knows? But the laning phase is now upon us, and it is going to be the Wind Ranger mid again versus Nataki playing Puck. And right off the bat, Wind Ranger poking in quite a bit of damage into the Puck, but we'll keep an eye on that. CS there. Top lane, Necrophos Rubik versus the Bane Anti-Mage. A lot of pressure from the Necrophos Rubik certainly to come out.
Yeah, it's Necro just still a strong laner, no matter how you tweak him, just because eventually he does have that regen. and the built-in damage if you want to stand next to him with a Heartstopper aura. It's never nice to be a melee hero up against an Necrophos.
Focus on Juggernaut. Down here against the Brewmaster Lina lane, and it is Brewmaster focusing the farm. Lina is the support in this role. They manages to pick up a stick as well off to the side. But Juggernaut is certainly one of these cores that doesn't mind going up against a hero like Brewmaster.
Yeah, I'm curious when we see the aggression come out from these two heroes, because they've got both their level 2, so you have the slow, you have the Inkswell. So I feel if Lina here is a little bit out of position, they will just look to turn on her, because just with that Blade Fury damage and the follow-up stun, it's going to be more than enough to take her down.
Wind Ranger activating Wind Run, charging in there as if she wants to go for a kill, but gets more to keep the last hits going in the early laning phase. And how is that? Like 9-3 Puck versus a 7-3 Wind Ranger, so pretty close right now. Who bought him? That Inkswell's gonna go off first. Yeah, it's gonna stun the TP. Lina, this is likely gonna be the first blood. LSA, of course, way too early. Full panic mode is not gonna work, and Lina goes down for the first blood for Focus. And Sonoy attempted to get the return kill, and able to do that now. And Grimstroke, he's looking for a kill on Brewmaster all of a sudden. That's out. Oh, it's gonna be saved on him, and he will get plenty of regen from it. Now Spartan might be too committed.
Yes, so we talked about this combination, and it's so powerful. And in the mid lane, this Puck, he managed to take down the Dire Courier as well. Just leaping forward to his orb, and also able to get a haste rune, so he was able to get away from Undershock. So nice play on both these lanes for the side of Sexy.
I didn't notice. Was there anything on the courier, or did he get it delivered?
I didn't have a chance to check before it went down.
Well, he's got a salve on him. Something tells me he got the regen first, but still the courier kill, pretty important. See Wind Ranger pushing up there after the salve use. Anti-Mage, though, is having the best farm right now as far as CS is looking, 16-3 up at the top lane. So despite a pretty annoying lane with Necrophos, Rubik managing pretty good. And speaking of Rubik, he's going to commit suicide, come back to base, get that regen, or full mana, full life, I suppose.
Yeah, so another aspect of this patch is where they did slightly try to address people committing suicide. Very mental health aware is Valve. But legitimately, the fact that it now takes 30 seconds to no longer hand over that kill gold bounty to someone when you deny yourself. So you do have to wait that little bit longer if you're out of health and out of mana.
Yeah, okay. Can't say I caught that change, so it's good to hear.
Denied.
Skylark on Necrophos, 20-2 CS, and might be a kill on top of that. Screen is attempting to get away. Nightmare might save him. Auto attack comes out, just not enough damage, but the final one eventually flies in, and Bane is finished. So good pursuit there from the Rubik. But I do wonder what kind of build we're going to see on this Necrophos this game.
Well, he's got both crowns, so that signifies to me that he's probably thinking about the Atos, just more lockdown for the side of Sexy, because I don't think you see double crowns unless he's building something like a drums and a veil, but I think Atos is probably the item here, because if you're able to get that online before, AM gets towards his Manta style, you're just going to have even more lockdown, and then they can look to pressure V-Tune out of the early lanes.
Money to burn.
2 for 2 bounty rune split, top lane Rubik. Anti-Mage gonna blink in. Don't think they're gonna be able to chase enough though. Desire pops his own self. As he gets far enough, he's good to go.
Stop dead.
Yeah, and in this bottom lane, they almost killed off Sedoy. The Blade Fury just wearing off, and Yoke able to save his Brewmaster's life with a nice time stun there.
So he's making his way back in. Did have to exhibit a shrine use to heal on up. But coming back with nearly full life and full mana. Inkswell from Spartan on Lina. Juggernaut running over, does have his spin, trying to position himself. Meanwhile, Thunderclap use on Spartan. Spartan's taking plenty of damage. The crit comes out from Sonoy. So they get the kill. Grimstroke and the TP out from Lina just in time. This time the TP works. And they get the turn kill at the top of the loft.
Yeah, it's Focus, he was holding on to that Blade Fury for just a little bit of time. I guess because he wanted to bait out the stun from the Lina and then go into the Blade Fury, but identifying that the Grimshot said there's no way of stopping him, and just enough damage there. So very successful turnaround there for Sidoi in this bottom lane, because they've been the ones being pressured by this Juggernaut.
Okay, Undershock. Whoa, he dodges the Stroke of Fate as well. Such well played by Wind Ranger. And even tips, he's gonna get the skill, isn't he? The power shot's ready. No, he's not gonna go for it. Or is he? Oh! Wow. That looked like it hit, actually. Well, it didn't. Spartan's gonna be fine. But initially, that was a hell of a getaway by that. That was even a Dream Coil committed and everything, and they couldn't find the kill.
And in the bottom lane, they find focus as well. His spin, it's not quite enough to kill off Sidoi, and then they're just ready to turn. He was actually fighting into the spin with the Drunken Brawler. It's just more than enough damage. And will the Puck be able to clean up this kill? No, it doesn't look like it. So successfully able to kill off the Juggernaut here in this bottom lane. The side of Pries, they've really turned it around from those early kills they were able to get.
Yeah, Priest is certainly feeling very good about the start. You look at the net worth, and all three of their cores doing pretty good. Anti-Mage, surprisingly enough, is actually 5th in net worth, considering the CS that he was early on, but I guess that slowed down a little bit. Skylark, of course, has the levels have added up to, a level 3 Heartstopper aura, so is getting plenty of regen in this laning phase, and even a full wand to boot on top of that. So Necropulse feeling cozy with what's going on. But yeah, this bottom lane Juggernaut dying now after that last step right there. I was going to say 2 times, but no, he didn't die earlier. Point is, maybe not as going as well as he hoped for, but he's still doing all right. He's going to go Yasha.
Yeah, it's Yasha, Drums, Maelstrom, it's all that kind of build. But Inkswell over here on Sidoi, it does latch. It's not going to be quite enough for a kill.
There's an Omni though, and it bounces over to the creep, but it bounces back to Brewmaster to secure that kill. Meanwhile, saw all the blips on the mini-map. They chase down Necropulse, sure enough. They chase down Skylark, make that kill happen. So much for him being a very good start, or having a very good start even.
Yeah, I mean, he's still #1 in the net worth, so it's not that bad. But, you know, you're always looking to be able to achieve those kind of kills. And especially when you're anti-mage, you know, he's not doing amazingly on net worth, but he's not doing as bad as you would think versus this Necro matchup. And he's successfully got himself over to the Ring of Health. And that just allows you to be able to stay in these lanes and farm these creeps and eventually retreat to the jungle when you cannot stick around any longer.
Undershock does finally get boots delivered. He was doing the casual javelin build initially, but has boots now as well. He's got the bottle on him and is farming through the jungle, as he is the top net worth on his own team, slightly behind both the Necropulse and even Juggernaut. I go back to Juggernaut, though, and, you know, I was going to say, what do we think about him going the Yasha instead of the Battle Fury? But he actually has the Battle Fury queued up after the Yasha right now. So that would be something, especially against an Anti-Mage who, of course, is going... Wait. Is Anti-Mage not going Battle Fury? Whoa. Hold that thought, because they're going to initiate on Anti-Mage. Nightmare Stave initially is not enough, though. The spin focus too much damage. He does not have Omni Slash, though, with the Focus Fire of Wind Ranger, especially in the Shackle Shot landing. Easy turn kill. Rubik, however, will be able to TP away. So both cores dying. What? Both in the same lane there.
Yeah, it's, so yeah, a nice engagement here from the bottom lane. They realize the Anti-Mage is here. They want to get that gank with the Puck Dream Coil. We obviously talked about the Puck versus the AM, why we like that hero into the Anti-Mage, even though the AM was picked last. But a nice turnaround. They just brought the heroes from the side of Pries and able to get this Pries Juggernaut kill. But yeah, it's AM. If he's actually thinking the Manta style first, that's really interesting here. I mean, occasionally we do see battle anti-mages, but I really feel the strength of this hero is the fact he gets 6 slotted faster than everyone else.
Good kill on someone at the top. I mean, while Reaper Sight didn't actually kill him, but it set up the kill before he could primal split. I don't get it, though. Yeah, no, Anti-Mage is like the one hero where Battle Fury is so good on him. So I'm not the most sold on it, but we'll see for him how he makes it work. But right now, the SexyasF has found some good momentum. They're going to push the tier 1 tower top. You see Undershock nearby with an Invis rune. Shackle, it is going to stop the TP and Necropulse. Obviously, they knew that she was here. They do kill the tower, but now Undershock could be in trouble even. He's going to run away. And him breaks the flood. The Focus does have an Omni Slash if he can catch up, but he chooses not to continue pursuing. despite the Stroke of Fate landing. Soulbind is ready for Grimstroke, and it is going to come out right here. The double fin is embraced. Here comes the double lift as well, and there's the Omni Slash bouncing back and forth. Lena will fall, as does the Wind Ranger. Screen also goes down in the midst of that, so 3 for nothing. It ended up working out beautifully for the Radiant side.
Yeah, just thinking they could turn around, but the side of Sexy, they still have their numbers here in the top lane. And we're seeing that we saw the power of the Soulbind because just that nuke from the Fate Bolt being doubled up there, as well as the Omni Slash on top of it. The side of Pries, they just did not know what hit them.
I mean, Anti-Mate, whatever. It's like, if he doesn't have that cleave, his farming actually slows down a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not going to farm as fast, but, you know, an underrated aspect of why the Anti-Mage is so good is, you know, once you get those illusions, you blink on top of anyone and their mana's drained so quickly, and they must just think that if they take this game late, they're going to get out-pressured or something, or they think their fight early is that much stronger. There must be something thinking about here for the side of Vitoon as he switches back to the Battle Fury, so we can stop talking about this.
Well, I was gonna say, did he maybe heard our conversation? He's like, all right, fine, I'll go the usual route. Rubik, by the way, bottom lane, Shackle, but he's got backup now nearby. Scream, he's the one in trouble. As Dreamcoil locked him in place, so he gets taken out. Grimstroke, though, hit by the Primal Split, the LSA stun from Lena, and a 1-for-1 trade is the result so far. Might be more. Rubik being pursued down. Desire, no chance of getting out of that as soon as he was spotted. So coming back together, and now they're going to pressure this bottom tier 1 tower. Lena and especially Wind Ranger being here could likely be a tower kill.
Yeah, there was that fight. It did go well in the end for Pries, but there was a tiny bit of a mistiming there, where the Wind Ranger took off the sleep, even though they got that really nice shackle set up. But I actually think this Wind Ranger is looking really strong for the side of Undershot. He seems to be able to make all the right rotations, and he's bringing in definitely enough damage early on with that Focus Fire, as well as the Javelin. Sudoi,
he chose not to Reaper Scythe. If you Reaper Scythe there, that's a kill, but he just, again, to be fair, he didn't see him until the very last second, so kind of just panic queued, hoping for the best. But Brewmaster TP'd out.
So focused. I do like the fact that he's built the Yasha first, by the way, on a Juggernaut, because if you are just spending all your time waiting for this Battle Fury, it means your Omni Slash feels kind of useless now that it's based on your raw attacks. So it is really important to get some sort of attack speed or damage item to just make this Omni Slash something that the enemy side should really be afraid of, and then into the Battle Fury to keep up his farm. I think that's pretty admirable, because you definitely do more raw damage than the Anti-Mage if you're not going to get all your mana drained and controlled if you're the Juggernaut. So I understand the thinking here.
I do, but, you know, funny enough, I was going to say, if Anti-Mage committed towards no Battle Fury, I actually really like the Battle Fury choice in Juggernaut, because that would have just skilled him that much better throughout the game. But the fact that now Anti-Mage is going back for the Battle Fury and certainly looking to pick it up now, I actually would like something like a Maelstrom instead of the follow-up Battle Fury. Just, it also enhances your Omni Slash that much more as Screen gets picked up in the mid lane, it looks like, by Puck. But it's, you know, Maelstrom even a full Mjolnir down the line to both enhance your farm, but also get that Omni Slash synergy. But the cleave is also nice. Not that it's a bad choice, but another way to think about it. 15-minute runes up, by the way, are coming up.
Yeah, it's in this bottom lane, a big engagement.
Necrophos in the midst of it has Ghost Scepter. He's been locked out this whole time, though. Finally gets level good, but it's also not enough damage with the one use. Necrophos could go for now. Never mind. He melts shortly after. I thought he was good, but no, he was not. Soulblind. Wind Ranger tried to run away, but Sudoi going another direction, locked him in place. Beanscript, though, as well as a Mana Void hitting the Puck there to finish him off. So 2-for-1 fight. As Brewmaster's still chasing, but don't think they're going to get more.
Yeah, a bit of an unlucky engagement there for the side of Sexy, because you know, they brought enough heroes to this fight, but that shackle there on the Necrophos, I think that must have been a max range to that tree or something, because, you know, it just held him in place long enough, even though he was able to live through a Laguna Blade. It cost so many spells on the man. He was able to last for so long, but eventually he does go down, and a nice Fiend script there from Screen over onto this Puck, and gives Vitoon a nice cleanup kill with that Mana Void.
course, getting that much closer to the Battle Fury now. 2,000 gold saved up. Just needs the Demon Edge as well as a recipe, so he is just around the corner from having one. It's going to be a pretty good timing. Speaking of that, for Juggernaut, he's got 2,200 gold, but needs everything minus the Quelling Blade at this time. So naturally, we'll be a little bit further behind considering with the Yasha first. But he does have a comfortable lead right now over the Anti-Mage. So yeah, that does go back to where once he has the Battle Fury, it certainly will be a nice tool to take advantage of and enhance that farm.
So you were talking about, you know, when the AM goes Battle Fury, you would have preferred the like Manta Maelstrom, Yasha Maelstrom build. And, you know, I understand what you're saying, you know, hit an earlier timing than the Anti-Mage instead of try to scale with the Anti-Mage, because obviously you don't farm as fast as the AM. But I think he actually feels fairly confident, even if he's, you know, just one item behind, that he can keep up just with his abilities and the raw damage that he does. Yeah. So I think that's the thinking there, and the rest of his team, hopefully they're going to be shutting down this Anti-Mage. You know, Skylark, has got this very quick ATOS online, so you know AM is constantly at threat from a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, the Rod of ATOS was certainly a great timing for Skylark, and following up with a pipe as middle lane. Okay, not bad there. Lena gets picked off though. Yes, was that a Dream Coil use? It sure was. The Blink Dagger on Puck.
Yeah, Dream Coil, Inkswell, and then they just have more than enough damage to take down this position for Lena with the two of these heroes.
Brewmaster, meanwhile, Bill of Discord, or not Bill, Hood of Defiance will help keep him alive.
I mean, they're both magic affecting items. They basically do the same thing.
For some reason, I occasionally do swap those. I really don't know why, but Puck, the Inkswell is going to connect on a Bane. That with a Waning Rift, the Stroke connects as well. A nice job with the Phase Diff, preventing the Nightmare from coming out. So great job by Nataki. He's making excellent use of the Blink so far, and he's in a comfortable spot in the net worth too. He's third on his team, but he's just right behind the Anti-Mage. So all three cores seem to be doing very well right now for SexyasF.
Yeah, SSA Spartan as well as Nataki, they're playing really well together. You know, just they put that Inkswell over on the Puck, and because of his mobility or his Dream Coil, he's definitely able to hold people in place to get that follow-up stun. So is he going to go for a... It's either a Veil, a Yult, or a Dagon. I would... You know what? I think I might even like to see the Dagon this game, just get the raw damage. Well, just as I'm praising him, he might be in trouble.
Well, he did a good job of saving Necrophos. At least he stopped the phase move, and he gets away just in time. The Laguna Blade not enough damage to finish the job. Skylark is still running, but I mean, that was crazy. Puck was able to blink. Oh no, that was the John. Never mind. Almost thought he blinked away from that Laguna Blade, but he does get away and survive. And like I said, he saved Necrophos there too. So excellent play from Nataki in the big picture. But look at Juggernaut, by the way. Okay, taking my advice, I'll take credit for this. Go on the Manta style, and sure enough, has the Maelstrom queued up.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we had become coaches for both these teams, but definitely taking your advice. They realize that they're ahead, and they think they have the control for the Anti-Mage, so they just want to fight and look for that earlier timing. And with this DD, we're going to see the first Roshan of the game, possibly. I'm not sure if they have any idea this is happening for the side of Pries.
Vision certainly is not there, and they're too far away anyways. You got three heroes way down here at their own jungle, so yeah, this is not the fastest Roshan kill ever, but at this rate, it seems like it is going to happen for the Radiant side. They got people pushing mid tier to not make them suspicious. Rubik, unfortunately, is going to get caught by both Anti-Mage as well as a Wind Ranger, but with his death means they're going to guarantee Roshan now. And that's an Aegis pick up for focus here on the Juggernaut.
Radiant's top tower
Battle Fury picked up by Anti-Mage meanwhile.
Yeah, V-Tune, he has his Battle Fury as well as his Yasha. This really is the time you have to kill this man, and well, I want to say at least twice, but you want to kill him as much as possible.
Soulblind used right there to run away from Grimstroke, but it does just that. It allows them to get away in the end. And Pipe also just finished for Necrophos. I talked about how that was coming out earlier. I like how he's also been sitting on this casual chainmail for the time being too. Just a bit more mitigation.
I really thought he was building that into phase boots, but no. Yeah, it's exactly as you say. He just wants to be that tanky man versus the damage of the Wind Ranger. That's why he was so survivable in that bottom fight, even though he did go down eventually.
So you had mentioned Puck and what he was going to be going for. He did get the bots queuing up a Lincoln's this game, so not as aggressive of a build.
Yeah, so I list 3 items, and he doesn't go for any of them, but they will find the Wind Ranger here in the bottom lane. The Ink Spell onto her, the Nightmare save, and it might be enough to save Undershot. They don't seem to have the burst damage to be able to take him down.
He was juking left and right trying to dodge that throat. But in the end, he gets hit by the Reaper's side, so he's going to be dead for that much longer. 70 seconds. Always feels ridiculous. It's 25 seconds added on the respawn time there, level 2 of it. So she's going to be out for a little bit. A pretty big kill for them. Anti-Mage has officially taken over as top net worth right now. Well, as I say that, they're bouncing back and forth. But you do see the Anti-Mage starting to scale. As we mentioned, the Yasha already followed up and going from there. But Juggernaut, he almost has that Maelstrom finish now after the Manta. And they still have the Aegis on him for plenty of time. So certainly want to try to make a play with it.
Yeah, they're definitely looking for objectives. All the pings are coming out to this tier 2. But V2 is doing such a good job of, you know, he pushed in bottom lane, now he's cut the mid wave. So even if they get this tier 2, they're definitely not going to look to go high ground. And I would be very afraid of this anti-mage because I just don't think they've killed him enough, and he is going to have that Yasha. Once he has that, the only tool I think you have in your arsenal is this Dream Coil that will help you kill him.
They are going up to tier 3. SexyasF. So they do have a catapult here. I mean, as long as that catapult's here, the backdoor protection won't be activated due to, despite Anti-Mage cutting the creep right behind them. Soulblind used on Bane and Wind Ranger backline. They are pretty deep though, as Juggernaut was charging it almost like he wanted to pop Omni Slash, but now he's caught by the Fiend's Grip after being lifted up in the air with the Yule focus. Nope, he's gonna be fine. He spins away, despite that Laguna Blade coming out right there. And the rest of the team trying to retreat. Skylark, in the midst of that, the Primal Split locking him down. The Mana Void explodes him, and now Skylark's out of the fight. So this dire team certainly wants a chase. As I say that, Omni Slash turn on the Bane. He goes down to the counterspell proccing right there. Oh, the stolen Primal Split, by the way, from Rubik, as he's now walking around and trying to make some plays with it. The lift early on Yoki. And they still want to pressure this tier 3. It is very low to dying, but this seems ambitious now.
They still have the Aegis, and all the spells are down from the side of Pries, so they're just going to spin, and then you look to back off.
Okay. Yeah, with the spin out, it's going to be fine, but now V2 looking to clean up on some. Rubik, one of those targets, gets caught, and eventually finished off by Lena. And likely to be the end of the casualties. Or is it? Wind Ranger, okay, well, Juggernaut's going back in even. And there's Alice Soulblind throwing out on top of the waiting, or top of the puzzle of the Dream Coil right there. Plays for a second, spin on top from Juggernaut now coming out with next pull showing back up. They are going to turn on the Bane at least. Brewmaster attempting the TP, and he is successful with that. So going a little too deep there from Pries.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good identification that they were chasing them. Obviously, they do have this ward here, so they saw they were coming in for them, and they realized, you know, we're still pretty strong. They don't have any of their spells, so they just look to get this kill and turn it around. But so they've lost their tier 3. They are losing some map control here. Eventually, they might be able to get onto their shrines, but you know, Anti-Mage, he was able to claim a kill or 2 in that engagement, and he's looking towards his Bastion X, and you know, once he has these items, both your Rubik and your Grimstroke, they're in real trouble in these fights.
Lena's working on the Ags. This is technically a position for Lena, which honestly, the farm is pretty impressive. A Yule's, an Aether Lens, and a 1,600 gold saved up towards an Ags that she has queued up, as I mentioned. So it seems like pretty solid farm, actually, is up there with both the Brewmaster and the Wind Ranger on our team. But I think that's actually more telling of how the Wind Ranger is somewhat under-farmed. This was a mid-Wind Ranger that is pretty far down that list when it comes to net worth right now.
Yeah, it's, one of the weaknesses of this hero is, you know, she doesn't really have any crazy farm acceleration. Obviously, she does have the power shot that's pretty decent at getting creep waves low, but, you know, when it comes to the jungle, it's just not quite enough to be able to keep up with the farm of everyone else.
That counterspell of Anti-Mage keeps him alive. The lift from Rubik counterspelled, so he's able to blink away and TP out before he gets caught. It's a good getaway there, and you do see Anti-Mage, speaking of good net worth, he is doing very well. Full Manta style finished, and working on the Basher next. He's also level 19, by the way, which is 3 levels higher than anyone else in the game right now. So certainly farming very effectively.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this V2 Anti-Mage. I feel like he's done exactly what he needed to do. Only died once. 3-1-3, you know, come into some fights for some big mana voids at the end of them. And if you have a look at the lanes, you know, mid-wave as well as bottom, they're pushing in. And Sexy, they're the ones who just had the Aegis. They're the ones who should be having the map control. But that's not the case because of the work that V2 Anti-Mage has been able to accomplish.
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
The top shrine taking some damage. Now we're going to kill it off, it looks like, for SexyasF, as that's one of the benefits, of course, taking out the tier 3 tower. Well played there. Basher officially purchased on Anti-Mage. Now, Windranger's been pushing out the bottom lane during all of this too, though, and slowly pushing it. Eventually, going to start getting pressure on that tier 2 tower. She's still trying to finish at BKB, though, so, yeah, again, she has the Blink, has the Maelstrom. Likes the BKB to be able to be a little bit stronger in the upcoming fights, but being very cautious at this bottom lane, despite having 4 heroes. I guess they are missing.
I don't think it's just caution as well. They're really just hoping to bait someone out because I'm not sure if Undershock has showed himself, you know, properly in a fight or in a lane since he's got this Blink Dagger. He's mainly been pushing with that power shot, so they're really hoping to just get that surprise initiation. Well, as I say that, Sidoi.
Taki going in, the Dream Coil already hitting on a Brewmaster. They want Lita, though. They're going to get Lita. The lift up and the beat down to follow. Inkswell procs and secures that kill. Sidoi, he's going to run to the left. He's dragging a creep wave. Focus in pursue. Is not going to chase much further, though. He's like, guys, screw it. You're getting away. That's fine. He's trying to cut him off, though, with an angle. They know he doesn't have a TP.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing. They know they cancelled his TP, so he just can't get away with them through the towers. So he just stays in this one spot. It's really nice duking, actually, by this Brewmaster.
But it's also a lot of time wasted for him, I suppose, as he does come into the mid lane. But now they see him, and he might be in trouble here. Okay, that was a big greedy. He made the great juke initially, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to farm this creep wave near their tier 2 tower. Of course you're going to die.
Yeah, they're very optimistic there on the Brewmaster. I mean, it's classic Caster's Curse, you know, where we praise the man for doing something good. Obviously, he needs to tell us, you know, I'm not that good. It's, they, you know, these teams, they do listen to our casting, you know, for the great things that we're saying about them. They just want to hear the praises.
Of course. Absolutely. Abyssal Blade's almost finished for Anti-Mage, just needs the recipe. So he really is the shining star, as you would expect, though, for Pries Gaming. Going to be the reason why they're not only still in this game, but certainly still winnable. Roshan's not up for 40 more seconds. The Dire just scanned the Roshan pit just in case, but again, as we see, not available. So the Radiant team will have to be a little more patient before they can look to do it. The full Mjolnir finished on Juggernaut. That much more attack speed to work with, and he too is curious on going to Basher next in line there, as Lotus Orb is finished on Necropulse meanwhile.
Yeah, I do like this Lotus Orb pickup. It's obviously, you know, very good versus the Bane. Able to save people who get nightmared, or maybe even reflect back a Fiend Drip, or something like a Shackle Shot would be really nice to stop. I just wanted to, I don't know if you've been looking at the graphs recently, but this game, it does feel very even, like no team has a massive advantage just because it's Anti-Mage, and it looks like Dota Plus agrees with us on that fact.
It's classic. Oh, wow, it's actually 50-50 right now as you say that. Holy crap. Not often you actually see a 50-50 split, but it is classic Anti-Mage game. I mean, you have the Anti-Mage, you essentially are playing a 4-1 strategy around him. Usually that's what's happening here from Pries Gaming. It's not necessarily the greatest thing ever, because I do still feel like this Windranger is somewhat underfarmed, but ultimately Anti-Mage is a hero that certainly can carry you to victory, almost in a 1v5 aspect. So he has Abyssal Blade now. They want to fight clearly. They smoke up and they're looking. Fuck. They shift initially. So might approve, but he's just going to probably split. Okay, Primal split and attaches with himself, but Skylark's trying to run now. Lotus Orb, Lincoln's on him. He has everything, but is it going to be enough? The Invincible Blade eventually comes out. The Laguna Blade is not enough damage initially. Skylark surviving for the time being. Now comes the Shackle Shot as well. Anti-Mage with the chase, and eventually the Mana Void connect for the kill. Bane, though, spun down by Juggernaut, but the Bash Proc onto Juggernaut as he finished off the spin. Buyback from Bane, by the way. Omnislash just bouncing around now. Wind Ranger running away, gets caught by Desire, who once again stole the Primal Split and looking to chase down the Wind Ranger. Puck attempted to catch up as well, having a phase shift defensively. Sadoy gets spun on, and Focus gets a kill there. Anti-Mage lifted up, though, for 6 seconds, but the Fiend's grip holding Juggernaut in place, and Scream, beautiful lockdown, gonna set up the kill on Juggernaut with Anti-Mage blinking in. Undershot gets hit by the Inkswell. He is still alive, though. Desire wants to change that on Rubik. Can he do so? Yes, he can. Buyback galore, though. Juggernaut and Grimstroke both buy back, but Anti-Mage is still feeling very cozy right now. He gets yet another kill, this one on Rubik, and trying to catch after Puck. Does he have Abyssal Blade? He doesn't yet. It is well on cooldown. Pops the counterspell, blinks away. Bane is left behind. I mean, I still think that's a victory for the Dire of sorts because those are multiple buybacks.
Yeah. I definitely think the Dire wins that fight handily. You know, when you have to buy back on your Juggernaut and your anti-mage survives the fight, you're definitely in an advantage. And V2, he just kited that fight perfectly. I thought Sexy they were going to be able to turn it around once they had that Primal Spit stolen, but a really nice Fiend Scope with the buyback from the Bane means they are able to kill the Juggernaut in the end, forcing his buyback. And V2 just kited them through that fight. He got Omni Slash to like about over here, and then he blinks back into his Lina, who then gets the Omni Slash on her. She uses herself up. It's also bouncing to the Wind Ranger, has the Wind Run, so the Omni Slash doesn't affect him. It's just so nice, you know, kiting of that ability and the Juggernaut, and that's exactly why he's going for this MKB. So, you know, even if he does end up on that Wind Ranger, she is able to go down.
Yeah, it's going to be big for that, but you say the Dire team arguably winning that fight until the Roshan, really. The Roshan happens, and then that's where SexyasF is fairly satisfied, I'm sure. They get the Aegis, they get Cheese. Necrophos currently carrying that. Of course, the Aegis on Juggernaut. But we did see the Anti-Mage and the power level that he's at right now. He's 24.5. He's going to be 25 very shortly, which is by far, and so far ahead of anyone else in the game. 21 Puck is the next closest, and he likely could have a Butterfly on top of that. So once he gets a Butterfly, especially hits level 25, that is going to be a huge peak for this Dire team, and it is going to be trouble stopping this Anti-Mage.
Yeah, it does feel like we're about to reach peak Anti-Mage, really, and that's when things do get really scary because he's going through these back lines. He's already found Rubik on the back line.
Lina is going to eventually fall, but the Fiend's grip on Juggernaut. He's dying in the midst of this. Finally gets it off, and he spins out. He's at half-life early. Link gets applied to him. Puck gets hit by the Bash, though, and he explodes with a Mana Void. Focus on the run. 3 are already dead on the Radiant side. It's going to be a 4th. The Lotus Orb is not saving the Juggernaut, despite the Shaka Shot being reflected. And now with the Aegis, can Juggernaut somehow get out of this? Spin TP? No, he doesn't even go for the TP. He's going to go for it now. He's trying to juke them out. Can they find it with the Abyssal Blade? Yes, the Bash proc hits. That was just simply a Bash. No Abyssal Blade cooldown ready. They don't need it, though, so the RNG in favor. That's a 100-second resurrection now for this Juggernaut as it's a tieback. And Skylark is also caught up, too. He is no doubt falling here. All the mana's gone. He pops his wand, but it's just going to be all for naught. Or I guess he does have Chi, so that's a different story. And he is surviving for now. Unless he has help coming, though, I don't see him getting out of this. He kind of does, but they are too late. Yeah, monster kill indeed. This Anti-Mage, he's getting to an unstoppable point.
I don't know if getting to is the right verb. I think he might already be there on V-Tune. And now Sexy, you know, the Aegis is down. They know the Juggernaut doesn't have buyback. He used it in the last fight. But the execution of that fight, I was honestly just following V-Tune around it, really. Because, you know, he sees the Rubik by himself in the mid lane, supports it, just equal food for the Anti-Mage, and then just dancing one by one. They get rid of the rest of the team, so it's just the Juggernaut and the Necrophos. And Jug, you can't spin TP when they have an Abyssal Blade.
Very true. But yeah, to be honest, I go back to again. That wasn't even the Abyssal Blade proc. That was, or the use. That was just simply a dash proc at that point. But either way, it is still very difficult to do. Butterfly delivered to Anti-Mage mid-fight. They use Dream Coil. They're trying to defend right here. They lose to tier 3. Bane getting low. They're focusing everyone around the anti-mage. That's the game plan, understandably. And the Reaper Scythe is going to take out Bane. He's out for 95 seconds. But you see anti-mage still running around. He's going to get a bash proc on Skylark. Force out the Glimmer Cape at least. And now anti-mage trying to find another target. Beat can be activated by Undershock as he was taking pressure from the Rubik. They turn Rubik, get him taken out. Sadoi lift up on Juggernaut, trying to open up, getting the racks at least. The range rack's definitely falling. Going for the melee racks now. Focus though. Back in with the spin. He does have an Omni Slash. Anti-Mage jumped on Grimstroke and gets the kill on him though. Using that Abyssal Blade to help take him out. Skylark again, late game supply with the loaded sword. Now an easy kill, lift up a Juggernaut, finally comes down. And now the Mansion Style split gets the Bash Proc out of Mana. Juggernaut the Mana Void, and down goes Juggernaut for 80 more seconds. Once again, no buyback Luna Blade is not enough for Skylark either. But it's just rinse and repeat here because this anti-mage, again, unstoppable.
Yeah, it's as you say, what they have to do is they have to kill the rest of the side and then focus the anti-mage. But, the anti-mage is at such a point that he's just getting into your backlines, killing your support, even zoning back your parry at this point in time. And obviously the Necrophosi is pretty survivable with this Ghost Shroud, and we saw him live thanks to a nice Lincoln Sphere by the puck as he made it to the fountain. Meant this Laguna Blade didn't survive, but just again and again, rinse and repeat, V-tune in, V-tune out, and your Juggernaut's dead.
Radiant's top shrine is under attack.
Well, you know what would be a game-winning item right now for this Radiant team?
Top shrine has
that
fallen.
Axe on Grimstroke, because this is a beefy-ass anti-mage, so I think that would be something. But again, this is a position 5 Grimstroke. He's just about bottom of the net worth. It's not realistic. So it's unfortunate, but that honestly would be a good item pickup if they could somehow farm it for him.
Like, I do totally agree with you. You'd be able to get that controllable anti-mage illusion. He hits so hard. He has a Battle Fury. He's even gone for the Moonshot. This is, very unorthodox. I thought, I was thinking, if you do want to have some fun, he could have gone for his own Aghanim Scepter, but, instead he just wants to hit that much faster, be able to take buildings as well as drain people's mana.
Silence.
Top lane as where the Dire team's going to push next. Of course, that's a tier 2 tower up there. So want to make sure to control that objective. As Undershock, he's farming the Scythe. He's improved his farm quite a bit, thanks to Anti-Mage freeing up plenty of space. Does get the Wind Run and grants invisibility as well, so essentially a Sakuchi of sorts that Wind Run now has, or Wind Ranger even.
Yeah, that's a fun way to think about the Wind Ranger invisibility. I've never really thought of it as a Sakuchi, but now you're very true about it. But yeah, I want to highlight this Lina's farm. You can see she's ahead of the Brewmaster. She's done such a good job keeping up this game. Has the Aghanims, has the Blink Dagger. Perhaps maybe an unsung hero of the fights, just because she's sitting in the backlines offering all this control.
Focus is running into a trap. It feels like Shackle Shot opening. Now let's say from downhill, but the Dire team unable to get up there. Well, as I say, the Anti-Mage just jumps in and just destroys all the counterspell. Anti-Mage counterspell, the Omni Slash here bouncing around like crazy. So was Juggernaut, of course. They are going to take out Bane with that, but now Juggernaut needs to run. The ultimate used by Necropulse to take out, I believe that might have been Bane, but it just doesn't matter. Triple kill for V-Tune. Good game is called. And Pries Gaming, they win this best out of 1. They're going to be taking a win strike on the winner's side.
Yeah, it's just a really nice anti-mage game, if I'm honest. He played it really well. It felt like his team, and the rest of the team, honestly, they were behind the Juggernaut as well as the other 3 cores for the side of Sexy. But, when V2 came online, when he started coming to fights, that's when they started winning. And they bought the time that they needed by pressuring out these lanes. It wasn't just V-Tune. We talked about the Wind Ranger of Undershock staying in the bottom lane, pushing that in as well. And it meant Sexy, even though they took those very early tier 3s, they never got into high ground. And V-Tune, once he hit peak anti-mage, there was no coming back from it. They just were never able to kill him again.
Yeah, that's, well, not much more to say other than anti-mage just simply got too much farm. And SexyasF did not have the ways to really address it in the end. So Well played there in that sense from Pries Gaming. And like I said, they're going to be taking on Winstrike, who no doubt looked very good against TFT in the first game of the day, but setting up to be a solid series. And that'll be our first of 2 best-of-3s, because we're going to cast a winners match. I believe that one will be first, Winstrike versus Pries. And then that'll be followed by what's an elimination match, which of course is going to be the final tribe taking on SexyasF in Group A. So plenty of action coming at you today for the Cheat League Invitational European region, as I'm Breaky CPK, joined by Hasbeth. So stay tuned, guys. A winner bracket final is going to be set up here for Group A. We'll come back after a short break.